minute before we get started just to make sure that the auto host switches off. In the meantime, I will go ahead and tweet. Okay, that's done. Okay. Okay, it looks like the auto host is off now, so we should be good. Let's see, a few things to mention before we get started this week. There is maintenance, of course. It's to hit around the usual time, 4 a.m. PDT, 1 p.m. CEST time, and to last about an hour and 15 minutes. As well, probably a pretty big thing for those of you that are newer to the WildStar community. The Starfall event is coming up next month. It will be running for the entire month of June. For those of you that celebrated in the past, there are some changes to it this year. There's actually a developer post kind of explaining how it's going to work. Apparently, they're going to be running weekly bonus events, let's see, which includes a Blessing of Essence event, Glory Days event, a Boss Hunter challenge, and then a double XP explosion at the end of the month. They give a whole week by week schedule. In addition to that, there's going to be some login rewards that you get. So if you log in each week of the month of June, you'll get a different set of rewards each time. For example, the first one is called the Classy Caps Collection, where you get an assortment of hats, including the Primo Party Hat and glasses. Then the next week is some housing decorations, including a ground and a sky remodel. Week 3 is a lucky lockbox stocked with a bunch of stuff that's for the Boss Hunter Challenge. The actual weekly reward would be the Starfall Cupcake Rocket and the Starfall Disco Ball Spinner. And then week 4 is, it looks like some toys and maybe a Starfall Cupcake Year 3 decor item. So for those of you that are looking to get into that, those goodies, definitely, if you're not going to be playing a lot, at least log in once a week. There's also going to be some of the fireworks, explosives and stuff available on the cash shop, I believe. It will be a pack that's a commemorative pack of what was given out in the years previous. There's also going to be a Starfall Signature Appreciation Pack for those that are signature players. And there's some specifics about that, at least 90 cumulative days between January 1st and June 1st, blah, blah, blah. So you can probably look at the official website for the full announcement on that and what all it entails, but definitely the month of June is going to be the month of some goodies and special events each weekend, so be sure and check those out if you're interested. Let's see, there was something else. Housing communities. This new feature isn't live yet, and it's not slated until later on this year, I believe. But it is viewable on the actual PTR. And there's been a lot of feedback about it, people finding issues that need to be addressed and everything. But one thing that did catch my attention was some discussion about the housing community unlock costs. The main thing I saw from a CRB comment was that at the moment, the cost is relatively low on the PTR to facilitate extra testing. But as I understand it currently, they want the communities to feel like a meaningful investment. And so they're looking to approach it as more of a luxury feature. So it's not going to be something that's going to be readily available to just any old group of folks. They said something about like the costs are currently planned to be around 1,200 service tokens, and the gold amount of 100 platinum. There has been uh, quite a big discussion on the costs. A lot of builders have already noted that if the costs, as mentioned, remain the same, that they will likely opt out of joining in on participating once it goes live. Because if you're a builder and you've been in it for any amount of time, you realize that there's already a pretty big money sink when it comes to funding your housing habit. A lot of us we don't just build one thing and just leave it at that and that's it. We constantly acquire new items, new decor packs from the shop, spend lots of time grinding up things in dungeons and raids, and it's a huge investment all around. And I think this amount that they're suggesting as the price for communities is pretty steep. Now, on one hand, I think they're considering that the communities will definitely be a group effort. So I think they're thinking that if you have 5 folks, wanting to put a community together, that they'll split the costs. But I think they might be surprised at how many builders actually just want to acquire a community on their own and fill it on their own. So that will probably deter from that kind of approach to communities. So yeah, I'm sure it's a little disappointing in that, but being that this is still a testing period and there's still plenty of time for actual input and suggestions, I strongly recommend that those of you that are interested in this feature and would like it to be a little bit more accessible. It's not that I think that it should be completely free. I realize that features do come with a price tag, but if you feel like the price tag that they're currently talking about is on the excessive side, this is your chance to lay out your input in that regard. So you can find the actual discussion thread in the PTR general discussion subforum on the official forums. And the title of that one is called Housing Community Unlock Costs, with a little extra of looking for some CRB input. It's already quite lengthy because, again, there's some pretty heated discussion as far as what people feel is fair or unfair, and their reasonings behind why they feel that way. And so this is your opportunity to throw in your two copper on that. Again, I have yet to really delve into it myself. I'm excited to see what folks will come up with, but I worry now that because of the costs that may um, be involved, that it may deter more people than they expect to just opt out of not even getting involved in it. So that's disappointing if that proves to be the case. I hope not. I hope they will reconsider. Um, but yeah, as I said, I think their reasoning again is more like a group effort as far as not just the building part of it, but the funding for it as well. Granted, a lot of our veteran players may have, thousands of plat laying around that they have nothing else better to do, and they're looking to use this as a kind of a money sink and then some. But for those of us that do long-term building, the costs are already pretty steep for us. So I don't know. I guess we'll see how it goes. But again, this is your opportunity to voice those kinds of concerns and provide suggestions as alternative kind of ideas that you think might work better, and provide opportunity for more people to be involved, that sort of thing. So yeah, just a word on that for those of you that hadn't seen the thread. Good morning, Bones, Poi, anyone else that happens to be lurking around. Appreciate you guys joining. Um, and yeah, I've already seen, I think Katya mentioned that she was planning on getting into it, and with the cost, that it's just probably not going to be something she gets into right now. A lot of folks were looking forward to it, and I think this whole 100 plat and everything is just a little over the top for them. So uh, if enough people, I think, express concern about the cost, I think it will push them to reevaluate that. So again, if you have any qualms about it, now's your chance to throw out some information on it. Okay, so this week is entity's turn. So we are on NA side. Um, got a couple of homes for you today. The first one is by Remaris Lock or Remaris Lock. It's called Skyglade Lodge, and hoping that it proves to be pretty. I didn't get a full look at the plot, so I'm not entirely sure what's all on here, but I kind of liked how it has a really full look. So many of the plots we come across doesn't have this extensive of landscaping, and since I'm a big fan of those that can pull off the landscaping for a plot to make it look like it's not even, out in the sky kind of thing. You feel like you're actually in the game world. I tend to really dote on those type of plots because it's not my forte. It's like my worst thing about housing. I'm more into the smaller details kind of thing. So you can see they've covered their entranceway. Looks to be a it looks like brown dirt popping up, so I assume it's a massive umbrella tree. Um, Also, the size, I think if I recall rightly, if you use a upside down snowy hill instead, that it actually has to be, it's forced to be rather large to be able to cover it just so. So these smaller little uprisings here typically tend to be the upside down massive umbrella tree. Gray stones for the walkway, which helps because as you come into the gate here, you'll see that the path is pretty clear where you're supposed to follow. They've got a variety of plants. It's very jungly, foresty feeling. So it's not cramped. It's just uh, very filled, I guess. You can see they've opted to leave their clutter on, so you'll see the grasses coming out of the rocks even. Again, we've said in the past that it's really just the preference from the builders. I think if I was to give a percentage, I'd say like 70–80% prefer to keep it off because a lot of them would prefer the cleaner rocks without the grasses coming through. But it lessens the uh, necessity of adding in so many plants. So it might just be something that they decided to go with so they wouldn't have to put in so much grass. Others find clever ways of making it look natural without the clutter. So again, it's just a personal choice. Um, let's see, I think we'll go into the main house first. If I remember right, that one is not that it's less impressive, but I think there's more detail on the exterior than interior. So on inside, which I assume is the lodge, is a bar area in the first room. You can see they've used those brown tables that I usually kind of fuss about. Um, but as you've seen, folks, when they do use them, they don't use it like it regularly is. Typically, it's got those really long legs. They just kind of sink it down so it looks like a short table. Works really good for coffee tables and things like this. So you have the little bar slash entertainment room, and then upstairs is the bunkers. So they've got little hammocks, just using the chua I can't remember the name. The chewer rope thingy. You know what I'm talking about. For the like almost like bunk beds, but they're like little hammock beds, which I thought was cute. It'd be good for a kid's room kind of deal. So then you got a bar up here. Uh, a little bit of a kitchenette, and you can see they've turned one of the locked chests into a microwave by adding in one of the screens that comes from the Red Moon decor pack from the cash shop, if I remember correctly. And then added, it's actually a ergonomics keyboard, but half of it is like stuck inside, so you only see the buttons up at the top. The cabinetry is 2x4s, and then for the doors of the cabinets themselves, those are staircase landings with what looks to be the handles of the vintage beer mugs. Those are like some of the favorite handle bits. They've got the same thing being used for the little, I guess it's a teapot kettle thing going here. It's a Merg explosive, a Merg dynamite, one of the port windows of the Space Chase, I think, and then the handle from the beer mug. The refrigerators are just stacked airtight containers with, again, the beer mug handle. And here we have a little restroom. It's a good use of the space. It's the just below the staircase for the next floor. I like that they're using the oversized Chua cups as the trash cans. And then up above is a little gaming room. They've got that little hollow dome seat we've talked about. Some leave it a single dome and others layer it up so that it's a little thicker. It provides some cushion for, well, your cushions so that they don't stick out the bottom or the back. It allows a little more freedom with the tassels of the pillows not poking through. Notice they've also used some color shifting to kind of make it a little different. And then of course this little mini couch is just 3 of those orange cushion chairs together. That seems to be a favorite and works really nice. It looks nice as well. Pardon me. Again, kitchen fridge thing. I like how they make it kind of look like this is like a folded up table, card table or something there. Oh, that's got glass on it. That would be why I can't go down that way. Silly me. Okay, so let's do a bit more exploring outside. So, from the entrance, which is over here, little gate there, we come up on this structure, and I love how the windows are done. It's a really interesting way of doing the glass. It looks like one panel possibly being used, and then honestly, I guess the triangle pieces here, and then another glass on top turned slightly for the diamond shape. But it's a really unique way of doing the windows. The doorway is just various layered arches. And I presume that this is like some kind of a museum type of deal. You've got the little curator's desk here, which is just pillars being used for the top, glass for the bottom. And then you have the different exhibits, and they're using the pictures, the portraits, like the Lumini portrait and the uh, soldier or whatever. They're using the back of it as the part where the plaque is. So it'd be just like in the open game world where you come and you click on it and you get like a little description of uh, the display. So they've got one with some Pell stuff. These with the I can't remember the name of those things. It's the ones you get from the Alpha Sanctum, I think, like Progenitor Stones or something. I don't remember the name. Over here you have, what is that? Valkyrin stuff. Elden, and then Taurine. But yeah, I really love the way they've done the windows and how it looks. It looks really fancy. And just unique. I mean, I've never seen anyone do the windows like that. Notice they're using a little bit of the stepping stones here. Then there is a little path going up the tree using some of the, I think it's the boardwalk pieces and some of the Pell fencing. And you can see a little better the top of the building. This actually attaches to the main house. Done a nice job of melding the squid platforms together. So it's a smooth walk. And that leads you up to the not only the landing platform for some ships, but also I guess it'd be like an observatory or something. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, but it looks like a giant telescope here. Using, I believe that's a color shifted orange Orin window for the lens here, and then cylinder pieces to make the scope itself. And this seems to be like a VIP room of some sort. If we can see the end. Yeah, it looks like another window for the opposite lens part. Over here we have some little lounging areas. You can see they've even used some of the Winterfest fencing. Has an orany feel to it, doesn't it? With all of the like tree lift bits. Trying to make sure I'm not missing anything here. That was like impressive. Go this way, I guess. Hey Flood, good morning. Most of these are just rope bridges, but we've seen folks use all sorts of things for these little rope bridges rather than just specifically the rope bridge itself. We've seen some use the chua netting. What do you call it? Orange first aid? I don't know. You're gonna throw out some weird pun. Triage. Oh, you're awful. It's too early for that stuff. My brain doesn't want to work. Here's a bit of an interesting water source. They've got the I think it's the dreg well, which I'm pretty sure is making a really loud squeaky noise. I have my sound off, so I don't know. But they're making that as the water source here for the waterfall, which I think is kind of fun. Let's see if I can just jump down here without killing myself. Again, using the older waterfalls, but like how they're using the bowl as the anchor, the color shifted bowl. Little details like this, like someone could sit here and like chip off some of the crystals like they're doing here. A good use of the welder again. Usually folks use it for like repairing ships and things like that. Again, got a little drain here to kind of show. And I'm assuming that the sparkly blue stuff is either some of those holographic, portable holograms things, or the upside down hovering medical cot. One of the two. It's giving that glowy effect, make it look like a pool of water. It has some movement to it. Looks like a little hobbit home here. Got a little towel on the sign, so I guess this is like a sauna thing. Yeah. Now this here, that's actually one of the newer waterfalls that you can get from the waterfall decor pack. That comes with quite a few. I think it's one each of the different types of waterfalls, plus a lot of the like lily pad and grasses that you would find near a pond or something. So looks like they added this in after they acquired the new stuff. Again, great use of color shifting for bottles, towels. It makes it look like there's different kinds of fabrics than just having the same bit. If you don't recall, these are from the summer decor pack. It's the beach towels, the rolled and the folded and the flat versions. Choosing that, what is it, that matriarch cave or Pumera cave? That's a little cover for that. What sky is that? I have absolutely no idea. It looks like the sunrise one, the summer one, but I'm really not sure, but that looks pretty bright. Um, I don't change my uh, sky remodels all that much, so I'm really not sure what it might be. Okay, now we could have gotten to this from the roof of the house if instead of going up the squid platforms. If I just went across, we would have connected with this as well. So you see, no matter what path you take, you'll come across this little bit. I love the rolled tribal mats being used as like little curtains. They even have little chains so that someone can pull the chain and then drop it down to close it up. This little, it's not necessarily a stage, but this little reading nook or whatever, meeting place, it's actually the tiki bar or bars being used for this platform here with pillars for the stairs, I believe. And then the Oran shelf for this part here. And then decking pieces and archways for the rest of the structure. See a little better view of it from here. Like a gazebo type of deal, just the 2-level instead of the traditional one. Back of the house, they got the little picnic table with the grilling. Again, that's some of the summer decor, like the cooler. You also get like the Barbie there. Okay, so the entrance is somewhere over this way, so go this side. This is how you get to the place where we just went. It's just another path to it. Again, the same method there. Whoops, that they used for the other place. Whoops, I just kind of fell off the wall there. I find my way to the path again. I've set up a little shooting range with plates and bottles as targets. Oh, excuse me, I feel a sneeze trying to work its way out. This is the bottom of the gazebo bit. And it appears to be a kind of a living space. You've got the living room, a little mini office, a bedroom, and I'm gonna guess this is the bathroom. Yep. Again, mostly decking pieces and archways and such for the construction of this little bit. And this is the shower. You see they're using bowls for the knobs for this one, and a little chain pull for the water. Off to the side here, it looks like they're using color shifted stones just to change it up a little bit. For the little camping ground here. Guess this is maybe where some vendors come, gypsies or something camping out in this part. If we go this way, this is an upgraded, or I should say pimped out garden. I think it's the flower garden fab kit. It doesn't come with all these lights. I think these were added to kind of make it a little more festive, and they've added some of the spring decor flowers as well. This is actually a fab kit that's been just decorated up. Same way with, I think the pillows have been added and such like that, as well as this little contraption, little bookshelf. It's actually decking pieces, dividers, the exotic divider to make this little shelf thing. Portable library or something. They've turned one of the granite benches or wooden benches into a swing. We've seen similar done, but some not as fancy. Maybe it's just a long pillow or 2x4s. But this one's actually got some extra details. You've got the bench itself. You've got pillars to cover up the legs, pillows, a little flower decoration, even a vine. I think that one's specifically from the spring decor pack, and then of course the multiple chains hanging down to create the swing. It's little details like that, easily overlooked by someone that's just kind of running through the plot. Oops, got stuck under there. Same way with this. This is the um, not the hot springs, it's the meditation pool, I think. Comes with the little fish NPCs, and they've added these little votive candles that are supposedly floating on the top of the water. It's just a bowl with a candle in it, but it's little additions to that to make it their own. And then having that water source that we saw earlier, I think it was, um, using a combination of the older water bits, the winding river, and then the newer waterfalls to combine that in. Notice they color shifted those things, the glowy lanterns or whatever they're called. And this is just one of those, I want to say it's one of those rocket things, but I honestly don't know. But it looks like somebody's parked their car to the side of the house. That's what it reminds me of. If you come out past the little museum bit, you'll find a little grave here. You know, maybe this is significant to the builder. There's a lot of things that builders will throw in, not just on a whim, but they have meaningful bits. Maybe it's, you know, for a lost pet or a lost family member. We've seen some that have a tendency to have some quirky item that relates to their character background story, that they always have it on their plots. But again, it's details like that that can be easily overlooked. If I hadn't have gone out to the little wooded area or happened to see it from a distance, you might otherwise not even notice it. This one is the windmill fab kit, I think. Yeah. And then they've got another one of those little transports here. Trying to see if I can get up it, or if they've added anything. Okay, I think that's all of it. Again, you know, it's probably, this one gives me the feeling like they've it's like one of those builds that it just evolves into something, this and that. Like here, you've got like stray books and a sandwich. So, like someone come up here for a little picnic. There's a ball here. Somebody lost their ball on the roof. There's another one, beach ball. Um, so you've got this museum, and then you've got like a little party place, and you've got different little water features. But as it's evolved to gain these new bits and pieces or features that they've incorporated because they wanted to add the new waterfall somewhere, it just, while it might not be feel totally cohesive, it doesn't seem to clash with itself. It's not like where we've seen some, other than, you know, an actual plot that's specifically aiming to show off different seasons and stuff, but it's not like you have a desert plot and then suddenly there's like snow items out of nowhere. It doesn't clash like that. So even though maybe all of these were built not intentionally as a full unit, but just, okay, somebody decided they want a camping ground and then later they decided to add some decoration to the garden, it still works together as a whole. It doesn't feel off at all. Not quite a village type of deal. I don't get that feel from it. And I don't necessarily get a full-on personal residence. It feels like it could be part of a community that, uh, like a guild could come and have some meetings, have a relaxing time at the sauna, and then grab a drink or something with their friends. But you can see there's a lot of different plants. They've got the canopy lumps there. Trying to make sure I didn't miss anything. You know me, I hate doing that. Okay, so that's Skyglade Lodge by Remaris Locke or Remaris Locke. So the next and final one for this week is probably one a lot of you are familiar with. It's Red Lotus Studios by Ayuni. I think they've had some videos made for themselves, and I'm sure they've posted some pictures in the forum and stuff, but I wanted to kind of visit it ourselves. Ayuni is a pretty well-known builder on NA's side, does a lot of like artwork, and this is, I believe, kind of like their gallery type of thing to show off some of the works that they've done. So it's called Red Lotus Art Studios, and you can see the entrance is a little different. They didn't actually go through any effort to cover up the landing pad, but I like how they're using those bushes slash forest trees as a bit of a cover to make this walkway. I've done similar things myself. It helps um, kind of uh, lead into some, what am I trying to say here? It builds the, I can't think of the word, my mind is just blank. Anticipation, I guess, of what's to come, what the building's going to look like when you get through the path. The path itself looks to be like an oversized 2x4 for this dirt road kind of thing. And of course, using a lot of bushes and some of the habanero flowers to make it look like rose bushes or something. But the brambles themselves really work fantastically for those quick forests. And that there's one, I think it's the leaning one, that has that little, so when you combine it with its mirrored self, it looks like this nice archway of trees. You get that really cozy, close foresty feel, even though it's really just a clump of hedges, oversized. So you get to see this striking glass building structure. You can see they've really done some interesting bits with the 2x4s for the decoration on the front. We'll get into that a little bit more. You can see they do have quite a few fab kits. They've got the geyser ones. I can't remember what there might be in the back. We're just going to go around the property first for some of the displays that they have up. Ayuni's, for those of you that have followed, you've seen some of my artwork stuffs. Uh, I tend to try and be as like flat as possible because it's really hard to especially if you're building for someone else, it's hard to accommodate, like if their walls are thick or thin, if they're putting the painting in a custom home, typically the walls are pretty thin, it's just a single layer and there's no accounting for the space between the rooms. So you have to be considerate about keeping things as flat as possible. Other times, if that's not a concern, then you can just kind of go all out. A uni, from what I've seen, tends to build almost like shadow box type of or three-dimensional. It really helps them to better convey perspective, I think. Uh, and so a lot of their artworks or whatever tends to almost have a pop-out feel, because like you can see here, you've got this framework here, but you can see that the trees and the top of the Asian type of building or archway actually kind of comes out of the painting and overlaps the border. So that's kind of a typical thing for this particular artist. builder, whatever you want to call it. But it's a really lovely scene. Again, you can see how building with this kind of stuff and trying to make a painting or a mural of any sort, it's kind of awkward depending on the angle that you're looking at it, but if you look at it straight on, it looks fantastic. The mountains are out of just regular stones. It looks like they're using different types of, I think the clouds, some of them are, I want to say it's those mushrooms, the frost caps from Arctera, I think. A lot of people like to use the snow clumps as well. You could probably get away with using other items and color shifting them to kind of a whitish color, maybe. The little sun or moon appears to be, it's kind of hard to get up there and see, but it looks like either a pearl from the bag of pearls or a file for that. The fencing is, it looks like multiples of that Dominion banner, the one that has the real long red flaggy parts on the bottom, and I think it's just the top being used here. 2x4s, exile shelves for these layered bits of the building / archways, bowls for the fountain with a lot of the waterfalls coming off of there. This little bit here is the streamer. This part here is the Dominion fancy dresser thingies. Of course, they're using the NPCs as actual peoples to populate. And notice how they've had to shrink them down. It helps add to their perspective again. Same way as this is making it smaller, so it looks very good on the perspective. Notice they color shifted some of this, dress it up a little. Now, unfortunately, I don't know the names of any of these artworks that they put together. I assume Uni has done all of these themselves. Unlike the museum that we visited a couple weeks ago, where there was actually contributions from other builders. Over here is, at first I thought it was like an acting stage, but I think this is where they will showcase possibly a new or a special artwork that's been recently contributed. I honestly don't know. This kind of reminds me of a travel poster, like their own version of it. But it's, yeah, it looks like a travel poster that they've built on top of is kind of what it feels like. But these are like the, I think it's the termite or terminite mounds. This here is those, this and this is the two different portable holograms. And they've got their little desk here. Yeah, maybe this is their auction place. I see that they've got like some money here. Maybe this is where they auction off the artwork. That sounds a little bit more along the lines of what it probably is. Just go around the side here. You can see most of the bottom or the base is 2x4s. A lot of wood. And a lot of detail as far as the design of it. You'll see what I mean as we get a closer look at that. I'm just going to finish going around here. Looks like a family of Hugels. And the base of the pedestal or whatever, that's the upside down gear trophy. They're using some of those Arctera version of the brambles to make like a, what do you call that? It's a special name for that. It's like a scarf thingy, but kind of fluffy. Looks like she's got earrings, which is files. Um, the daddy one has a cigar or cigarette. It's actually a rolled tribal mat. They've got some fire on here, and then they've got the bubbling cauldron to give it that little smoke bit. Guess this one's carrying a book or datacron. Over here we have an eateries place, some foodstuffs. Notice on this one they added a base to it using the, it's not the fancy, shoot. It's always on the tip of my tongue. I know it's not the fancy bar, but can't think of the name. There's another word for it. Dude, I don't know. You guys know what it is. The Minion Bar thingy. Okay, so coming at the main museum from the front, you'll come across the entrance here. And you can see that they've actually put in like their logo. It's probably because I keep saying it. It's I can't think of the word. It's not fancy, but that's always what pops into my head, the fancy bar. It'll come to me, or somebody will remember it for us. But I love the way they've done the logo. It's red lotus, so they've got a red flower here, the lotus flower. It's just made out of chua pillows, and then the wording is using the Osun chain links, or RL, red lotus. But look at this doorway here and how they've got this set up. It's 2x4s, and then they've left the gaps and made this funky design, and then they've repeated it all the way up. And then you've got a larger logo part for the red lotus. But how funky is that? That's just crazy. There's no glass that I'm aware of. It's just the wood there. Some crazy stuff. And then, you know, on top of that is the craziness of Charming Bar. Yeah, I think that's it. Thank you, Fly. I told you somebody would get it because I sure as heck couldn't remember. But you can see there's another layer to the thing, and then it's just all glass. It's almost like a glass dome, but it's more kind of like a cylinder type of effect. But I absolutely love how the lighting works so that you see the shadows of the frames on the floor. Now we'll get to this other part here, but this is actually marking the entrance of the bunker house. If you get close to it, you'll see that the door interactable will pop up. And you can, I'm not sure if you can mouse over or what, but they're marking it with not only this hollow panel thing, but an upside down portable holograph thing, and then I think it's the beer neon signs, kind of say, hey, there's something here important. I'll let you know. But we're going to take a look at the artwork outside first. Again, I have no idea what the names of these are. A lot of folks that put these paintings together, they'll actually give them titles and such. I'm sure they may have some of them listed in the forums in the painting thread that we have there, but I didn't take the time to look it up, so sorry about that. So I may give it a reference name just of my own, so don't feel bad. But this looks like an art terracing. It's mostly snow clumps, I think, for the snowy bits. They've got a little, you can get a close look, there's a little cabin here Now notice how this is pretty big comparison to this. It's again, give that illusion of perspective that this is farther off in the distance than it might actually appear. So being able to bring this snowy area with the Mauler a little bigger and more to the foreground, that helps sink this further back, even though in reality they're straight across from each other. Again, it's just a trick of the eye kind of thing going on. But it is a little cabin. They're using staircases for the roof, it looks like. And then for the doorway, a combination of those Draken stairs, and then of course some windows and such. Uh, Sandstones for the mountains. For the sky, I don't know what's being used for the surface, but it looks like the yeah, candles for the stars, and then some domes for the little moon part. On this side, we have a little home setting. Again, giving that perspective is really tough. You can see how you don't really see the whole table here. But if you're looking at it from the front, again, a lot of it is that direct uh, viewpoint. It's real important, especially when you're doing screenshots and stuff. You get it from the right angle. Straight head on is usually the way folks are wanting you to look at these. It's a little bit more complicated when it comes to like sculpture type of artwork, but when it comes to these paintings, straight on is usually the best approach, because if you look at it from here, it looks really weird, because everything like the chair's floating, and rather than looking like it's sitting on the floor. But it's a great trick of the eye. I think the background is a giant book, what it kind of looks like to me. But really nice use of everything. The vase is actually a light. It's a sconce. It looks really pretty though, doesn't it? If you're worried about taking screenshots and worried that things are going to be highlighted green, the best way to do that is to face your character away from it, and then that green highlight will go away. So you'd want to like zoom out. That's how I do my screenshots. You'll see me like hopping around. If anyone's there visiting me while I'm doing screenshots, they'll see me doing this. And I take screenshot in mid-jump just to get it just right, so I'm looking at it straight on. But when it comes to items that are interactable, it's kind of tricky because you don't want them lighting up. This sometimes would light up. It did earlier when I visited, but this time it stayed closed. You'll notice there's one thing that keeps popping up here. I think it's part of the decorations from the other side seeping through. Over here we have a couple of landscapes. This one is a little cave scene. Again, it's mostly using gray stones for the cave and the mountains. Snow clumps for the clouds, and I think a sconce for the sun. The black for the cave itself, I think, is probably the cellar entrance. That's probably the easiest to get a hold of. There are other items that will work just as well, but it's probably the quickest to get a hold of. And I can tell by this little part here, that's probably what that is. Notice lotus signs or uni signs, everything. Don't do like me and use an item like the carrots where you have to actually have reputation for it, because a lot of people that I've given my paintings to end up having to leave the signature off because they don't have access to it. So keep that in mind. And you used a good idea using the readily available links that are directly off the housing vendor for that. And keeping it simple, just a couple of initials. Um, there's some others that like to sign their work, Flower, uh, River Song, I think. They usually sign their pianos that they build. So it's a good idea if you plan on doing these, especially if you're going to be sharing them with someone else. Um, it might be fun for them to have that signature there so that they can show that it's not their work, it's someone else's. This one's kind of again, a landscape type of thing. You can see they've got a ship here. I don't know, the ship exhaust is just another one of those portable holographs. The sparklies you see here, I think that's from the buoyant blue crystal. They've just pushed the crystal down inside the wall so you don't see that too much. And of course they got that lightning strike that you get from the, what is it, the Z-Pre event. Again, snow clumps that looks like for the clouds, and then a sconce, or since it's not really lighting up to activate, maybe it's just the yellow part of the mushroom, blue and yellow mushroom. But you can see they're using actual trees and stuff for the foliage. They've just shrunk them down super, super tiny. But you can see even at small, most of them show up pretty good. This one's kind of disappeared here, but if you're close enough, it'll pop up. Again, just mostly different kinds of rocks in this nice little, I wouldn't even know how to guess how many stones that might be. Go this way. Have a little beach tropical scene. Again, the chairs are lighting up. If that's a problem for like screenshotting, just turn your character away and do it that way. Looks like a sconce for the moon, and again the candles for the stars. For the water, it appears to be one of those soul frost blobs. Looks like sandbags for the little islands and the beach part, with a little bit of stones thrown in. For the umbrella or parasol, it's a bowl with the mop handle. For the little beach house, it's you can see there's the Oran dresser or wardrobe here, decking pieces, and then the tiki roof slightly turned just a little bit. Again, it's an illusion of perspective there to kind of make it look like with the trees bigger, the palm trees bigger here, and then the smaller ones there. It just helps with that illusion. We did the same thing with the beach room that I used to have in the museum plot of mine. It's really hard to pull it off and make it look like it's supposed to, but wondering what those are. I guess it's part of the stones coming out. Okay, and then we have these in the center here. It looks like they've got some kind of an organ thing going on. Yeah, I think this is one of Flower's bits. If you zoom in really good, you can see her signature there using the edges of the beer signs. It's a Soul Frost inspired, apparently, using a lot of the tubing and such. Osun bits for the main casing of it. It's books for the keys, blue ones for the black keys, and then yellows for all the way across. Spoons, I think, for the pedals. It's a really nicely done piano. Again, if you we'll probably eventually visit one of Flower's plots to show off all the different pianos that she's put together. Yeah, it does kind of look like a combo of piano and jukebox. Very flashy, very, what's that famous Liberace or something? Looks like something he'd use. I mean, and to top it off, they've got the lounging Draken on top there. But this is a prime example for signatures where it comes, if it's really tough to get a screenshot of this that shows the signature because depending on how far you are, some of the lettering goes away. It looks like Flover instead of flower. It's real hard to get a shot, and it's just the way it works with the rendering and some of the items being smaller. It was one of the reasons why I chose the carrot plushies for mine, but again, not everybody has access to them. But what an amazing way of putting together the piano. It looks really nice. I think part of this is travel posters for the back here and for the little ridge as well. But great use of the Osun Arctera bits. You know, most people see that metal and they think big buildings and factory or lab kind of stuff. This is really nice. It looks classy too. That can fit in a lot of different themes. And to make the bench out of similar items to make it matchy-matchy. Lounge lizard, yeah, I guess that's what it would be. This here, I guess, is the receptionist desk. And they're using a combination of, I think it's the Exile bulletin board. It gives all that lettering. And they've just covered it up with the 2x4s here and then put the foreign coffee table behind it. Make it a little colorful. Little waterfalls here. Has that very museum-y feel to it, doesn't it? Over here we have, I don't know what to call this. It's like a living lizard thing. Very creepy. It's using those frost spores. It kind of wiggles. It's the one that if you turn upside down is kind of blue and it looks like a real opaque water. Looks like it because if you set it up right and you've got it large enough, you can see it and it looks like the water is ebbing. Again, the holographic bits, they've got some of the soul frost as well. I don't know what all's in this thing. Looks like some of the Ichthian posts. And I'm not sure what's being used for the legs. Very creepy looking though, isn't it? It's using the big giant eyeballs and that frost skull and lots of the brambles from that area. I have no idea what that's supposed to be, but it's pretty creepy. Again, it's a determination on the artist's part as far as if they use moving items as opposed to only stationary things. Allowing yourself to use the movable bits opens up a lot more opportunity for different textures and colors, obviously. But some of us, myself included, try to steer away from using them. It's harder when it comes to like landscapes because we're so tempted to use the moving trees and flowers and things. But again, it's just a matter of how you want to do it. Here's a giant lotus flower, the red thing for their logo. And they got 3 ways that you can go to the upstairs. Again, it's the squid platforms, and they've just opted to cover up the squiddy part with cylinders. There's a lovely tree type of deal. It's made out of, it looks like the Orin themed bookshelf. So you've got that tree stem pattern, and then they've added overgrowth to make the leafy parts, a sconce for the sun, tacked on the night owl lamp. They've even got a bench here. It's just chains and then some of those red moon lights. Looks like sandbags for the dirt and then layered in some grass. Ugh, gosh, what is this? Is this like a map? Or like a bird's eye view of a village or something? That's kind of what it looks like. You've got like some river water features, some mountainous areas. You've got like a little village here. Looks like the tops of the tribal vases. Got like the gate here. For these big, I thought it was like the tops of huts, but I guess it'd be like some other type of mountain. I think these are the bottoms of, I want to say it's the uh, palm trees, but I'm not sure. Some kind of plant, I think. I believe it's mostly to make use of we've got those new dioramas, just like little platforms. Most of the time we just see the space one being used because a lot of people like use it as the ceiling for their bunker house because it looks like, you know, starry sky, or those that are trying to get like a space scene from an interior but using it as like an exterior view, just kind of faked in, or like a spaceship area and stuff. I think this is the first time I've seen someone actually use the sand one, the desert one. That's what it appears it is. That's why it's kind of slopey like this. The water features are, of course, the frozen water, frozen lakes, and then all of those little miniature palm trees. Yeah, it's like a bird's eye view of a village area, something or other. On this one, we have, looks like a space scene. I have no idea what all of this is. It looks like plates for the rings of this planet, and the planet itself is the eyeball. It's just the back of it. This one is that giant planet that you can get. Again, the candles for most of the stars. I think some of these are asteroid meteor bits. Um, gray stones, that buoyant blue crystal. Is that a crashed bit or something? There's like extracting it. Space Hugels in space, something like that. Got like his little air tank tendril there using tubing. I have no idea what this is supposed to be. The little capsule here is domes, the detonator, the portable planter. The side is a water scene, it looks like. I don't know if it's supposed to be like an aquarium kind of look or underwater, or if it's just kind of, there's some waterfalls back there. I'm not quite sure. Again, mostly the gray sandstone type things for the rocks, buoyant blue crystals. What is that thing? A steam glider, I think? Yeah. Very colorful. Be great for, again, like, nice murals for a hotel lobby or a museum lobby or a bank, um, a courthouse, office building, just a lot of places that might require a large mural type thing. Here's that same one, looks like that was being auctioned off outside. Another little landscape scene. It's utilizing the tree portrait thingy, but adding in their own parts, like the sconce for the sun. Got a hugel sitting in there. Covered up this bit with the shield part is actually the back of the, well, it looks like this one in particular is the Chumbacambra, but then tacked on the little Draken, I call it the pillow, I think it's Draken shield. It's like an emblem, someone signing it. Another little, oops, walked right into it, landscape type of scene. This one looks like it's using the windy rivers. See, what is he doing? Is he dredging for fish, it looks like? Yeah, they've got like the handle of uh, something. The spade, maybe. A couple of 2x4s, chains, and then so he's like dredging for fish or for some kind of, I don't know what. Interesting little deal. The background is actually a travel poster. They've just turned it sideways. Interesting use. It gives some texture. It makes it look a little bit fancier as well. Some detail in there that can play around with it. I think that was a good idea. It's a great way, rather than having the same just blank backgrounds, having the travel poster in there and being able to cover up the features you don't want showing works really well. Here's a little city scene. I remember them posting pictures of this one. It's waterfalls for the water here. You'll notice they replicated it so that it looks like a reflection down here. The buildings themselves, like two of bookcases, spaceship window. There's Dominion benches here, Galeras stone walls, dividers. This here is the back of the benches again. That's just some windows. Got the little, again, if you look at it from the side, it looks kind of weird. It's meant to be looked at kind of straight on, sort of. But you can see there's like signs, and they got a bench here and a little dock. But really clever as far as, especially like the reflection. I like that. The stars here, I think, are spoons or something similar. They're just crisscrossing them to make the stars. I like the travel poster as part of a billboard. Kind of smart. Really clever building. Okay, so that's the outside. It's all the exterior. Again, notice the flooring is windows. Above is windows. It's basically like a mirror image, I think, of what's going on below and above. A lot of layering going on there. Again, where it's more frosted, that means it's multiples on top of each other to get the look. Some of it is unframed glass even, you can tell. So that's the exterior. So now we're going to go inside the bunker house part. And that takes us to the next part of the gallery. Now, the doorway here is actually covered up where the ladder would normally be. You can see they left just a tiny bit here in case you want to actually click on something. But if you just kind of back off a little bit, the door activator will pop up on its own anyway. We've seen that in other places where they've actually completely covered it up. I think it was the body analyzer or scanner, one of those two, being used for that. Includes these handles here. A lot of people like to use it for refrigerators. Seen them using those like teleporters, phone booths, that kind of thing. Okay, so let's start and we'll work our way around. So here's a little Lot Village painting. Again, if you look at it from the side, you can see just how quirky it is. But if you look at it from the right angle, you see this nice little village scene where they've got some tables and chairs for a little picnic type of thing. This one's up on the little hill here with this little tent. Further back, you've got a little Orani house. It's basically the leaf windows, multiples of those to get the shape and everything. This here is this, but just enlarged and then tilted so it looks like another little tent, little building. Very cute. All right, Bones. Over here we have a little tropical summer water scene, beach scene. Again, it's more like a shadow box type of style of painting. It allows for them to, you have to allow for more space because you're not keeping it as flat as some of us do, but it works wonderfully. I think these are all ice cube bits, the frozen ice blocks, and then they've got icicles with the snowy top to make it look like foamy waves coming in from the ocean or from the seaside. A really clever way of doing that for the beach. Excuse me. Now, a lot of it is miniaturized stuff like the tent and the fire and the little tiki roof and stuff, but other things are a little bit more inventive, like the telescope here. That's some of the frost piping. Although he doesn't seem to be looking at the stars, I think he's looking at the beach lounger here. Yeah, very interesting and clever way of doing the waves of the ocean there. These bits here, that's part of the neon signs for the poles. Again, I think they're using spoons and such for the stars. And then it looks like the back of the eyeball for this particular moon. Not for positive, but that's what I suspect. Oh, here's a wonderful night train scene. They're using detonators and files and candles and such for the multiple different colored stars, planets type of things. Again, you can see how it's kind of thrown off if you're looking at it from the side because they have a lot of things angled certain ways to make it look like they want it to as perspective wise. But using those lamps or the red moon lights for the tracks, it looks like a vent tank for the engine itself with another tank on top or the smokestack or whatever you call it. Here, I think is the hanging spotlights, 3 of them for the little stoplight thing. For the welcome sign, it's pillars for the lettering, pillars for the trim, walls for the red part, and then some of that Dominion fencing for the base of it. And of course, stones for the mountains. Uh, this light here is the same light they're using for the tracks, just oversized. It looks like a tower of some sort. This looks like an engine piece. Really clever work. Again, perspective is really tough to pull off in this fashion, and they're getting really, really good at showing that. So this one here. I'm not sure what this is supposed to be, like demon pit or something. Looks very spooky. Again, the background, how they're getting this to make it look so textured and everything. They're using a poster, a travel poster as the background. So they picked one with flamey red bits, and they just covered up everything they don't want showing. You got a lot of skeletons from the Actera bit, that blazing trail from the Z pre-event. I see some Osun bits. I don't know, is this supposed to be like a freaky demon concert or something? They got like a speaker here, and I don't know what that's supposed to be. It's pretty creepy. I'm sure it's meant to be something significant. I just don't know what it is. Here's another interesting piece. This figure here, that's actually from, I think it's the nautical bed. You take a close look at it, it's got that little woman on the bow of it or whatever. Some Eldon parts. I think it was Poi that used this particular one as a knife set in her kitchen once, which I thought was pretty clever. And it looks like a giant waterfall to make it look all kind of watery here. Here, again, I'm not sure. It looks like weird symbols. It's Draken walls. There's hollow cylinder parts. That's the top of a tribal pot. Edges of walls for this little bit. Domes. I'm not sure what that is. It's top of, I think it's one of the fence posts. I'm sure it means something specific, but I have no idea what it's supposed to be. These look like the ends of the exile walls. Same here, exile walls for that. I don't know if it's supposed to be planetary stuff, flowers, some kind of weird symbology for Illuminari or something. I have no idea. Here's a nice Arctera / Draken scene, using again a lot of those soul frost bits. You've got the stairway here, or path. It's the frozen platforms, the small one. There's large ones too, but the small ones you can get directly from the housing vendor, so it makes it a little easier to get. That's what all of these parts are. A lot of the frameworks and backgrounds of these is the not just pillars or 2x4s, but also the graded floor panel. Here we have another landscape scene. The clouds this time, rather than using the snow clumps, they're using the frozen water. It's also great for making maps. We've seen several folks use it for that. They've got this set up more like stormy clouds. That's why they've got the lightning strikes coming out. The mountains are, of course, the stones, with the waterfalls coming out, and using the waterfalls as well for the water going straight across. And I think it's the eyeball again for the moon. For the spooky house or church-like thing. Again, using that lightning strike to blow up a pumpkin patch. The house itself is mostly, looks like decking pieces, granite walls. The door is actually the empty trophy cabinet with a bottle for the handle. For the green smoke effect, I think that comes from the smoke pack, decor pack. So it's like smoggy. Just an extra way of adding some uh, atmosphere to the painting. Again, it's just a choice of the artist on whether or not they add in things that move or don't move. I prefer most of mine to be static and not moving. But again, that limits you on what kind of items you can use. Like this one, rather than having to paint a person in, they just use the mannequins or the NPCs. It works really well. So here I have a nice little path scene. It's just, well, it kind of looks like 2x4s, but I'm not for positive on that. It could be Draken walls or something. The orange, yeah, sconce for the little lantern bits for these pillars. Orange sconce here for the sun. Gray stones for the mountains. Really simple piece when you think about the pieces being used, but just being able to get that perspective to work so nicely, not an easy thing to pull off. Strange kaleidoscope looking thing. These are using those the candy pumpkins that you get from Shades Eve. They've just kind of gone overboard and made this strange little bit. Just multiples make these different. It could be that it's representing an actual artwork somewhere. I know we've had some that's done some their own versions of like Van Gogh artwork and Monet and a couple others, I think. So apologies if it doesn't really ring a bell to me. Here's a nice little landscape mural type thing. Again, using those uh, snowy platforms, snow clumps for the rest of the snow. Looks like one of the ice blocks for the water here, the frozen lake. The background for that sunrise kind of look, I believe it's the back of the uh, air conditioner, I think is what it was. It could be it's the cigarette lighter as well. I've used that myself. The clouds again are snow clumps, and then the orange sconce for the light. Come up here, and this is, I guess this is the curator's part where they put together some of the stuff. He's got his little desk here. You can see they've got some a palette with some different paints. Looks like they did their best to get some varieties of colors. Now with the color shifting, that's become a little easier. I've seen a few use like the splotches, the eye splotch, and just color shifting it to make it look like different splotches of color. Some just use, find something that has a good kind of organic shape, like maybe the, I was going to say the frost board would probably be good because it's not perfect round circle, but it moves, so that might not work so well. But something similar, and then color shift that, and then you have a nice little palette kind of thing. Of course, they've got their different brushes here using the thorny logs with bits of grass for the brush parts. Here Notice they've taken two ladders and gave it a top to make it look like a folded ladder, which is nice. And this, I have no idea what this is. Looks like Space Invader thing. But it's using rockets for the skull. And then I think it's the back end of the rockets for the darker parts. I don't know what it's supposed to be though, so. Yeah, I think that covers it. Super duper creative. Always fun to come to these places for inspiration. If you're looking to get into doing any kind of artwork yourself, this is a great place to come up with some ideas. Um, I've seen some not go to this extent as far as setting up museums like this. Sometimes it's just one little artwork piece in a living room or bedroom. Um, uh, so it's always a fun little custom piece that you can do that well, depending on how detailed you get, it doesn't take up a whole lot of decor space. This one, I'm assuming um, if it's anything like mine, especially using the amount of pieces I get into sometimes, I wouldn't doubt that this plot is probably maxed out on the decor that they're able to use. So again, it becomes an issue of, well, as newer works are created, some of the older ones have to be removed or relocated to accommodate for the new stuff. So one of those things you just kind of have to get used to, because with the cap where it is, you can't put in as many as you'd like. That's why a lot of my museums are like, they look half done because I can't put any more in. I've run out of space. So that was Red Lotus Art Studios by, well, the name of the character is Red Lotus Studios, but it's Ayuni that put it together. So, guys, that's it for this week. I hope you had fun. I hope the places that we visited today will inspire you to some new and interesting ideas. Again, just a reminder that they do have the new communities feature on the PTR, and they've given word on what the costs involved are for that particular feature, and it's looking like it's going to be a pretty steep cost. So if you have some concerns about that, or want to give you 2 cents about other parts of that particular feature, whether it be bugs that you found or whatever, be sure and drop by the PTR discussion forums on the official forums and leave your comments there. It's a pretty lengthy discussion already. Lots of people giving their input. Um, and the more the merrier, because that's a great way to kind of influence how things are going to play out in the end. Again, I don't think the communities are coming out for the next big update, but more later on in the year. They're just giving us a kind of an early peek, I guess, to kind of test the waters to see how it's going to work. So and again, if you haven't been logging in very regular like myself, you might want to make an effort to log in at least once a week next month, all through the month of June, because it is the Starfall event. It's celebrating the 3rd year birthday of WildStar. So there's going to be weekly bonus events like the double XP explosion event at the end of the month, um, along with weekly login rewards. So if you log in the first week of June, you get some special little stuff. And then the second week of June, some more special stuff, and so on. There's a signature package that will be going out. There's going to be little packs that you can buy on the cash shop that includes some of the stuff that we got from past Starfall events. I don't know if the unlock is going to be available like it was before. I honestly am not sure about that. I assume so, but I am not for positive. I will mention that if I discover if it's up again. Because in past years for Starfall, we had a quest series that you go through, and then at the end of it, you get some trinkets or whatever. And if you collect all the trinkets, then you unlock this the firework decor from the housing vendor. And then you have access to that year round. So I don't know if that's going to be available again or not. Hopefully so, but we'll see. In the meantime, I hope you guys have fun with whatever projects you're currently working on, or if you're in between projects, I hope this gives you some ideas of things you might want to try in the future. Again, if you have any suggestions for homes that you think are worth visiting that we have yet to visit in the last couple of years, be sure to drop us a note. Again, we visit both factions, both regions, so anything goes really. It doesn't matter where you happen to find it. If it's your plot, somebody else's plot, uh, eh, as long as you feel like it's worth taking a look, I'm happy to go and visit and check it out with you guys. So yeah, have a great week, and if you're in a place where the temperatures are a little off, hopefully it doesn't get too bad. It's been really warm here, so I feel for those that have been in cruddy weather. And stay in good health, and I'll see you guys next week. Bye-bye.